Hey everyone, so I'm continuing my John Maxwell today, and I'm moving on to the next chapter of 21 Qualities of Leaders in the Bible, and it's inspired by men and women of Scripture by best-selling author John Maxwell. I'm on the Maxwell team, and I'm a speaker with them. So the case study today was on the decree of Darius to rebuild the temple and to let the temple be built as a place to present sacrifices and its foundations to be laid. So it basically looks at how he issued this decree, what he did, and it was so that the elders would have the ability to continue to help build up their lives and be provided for. They would have food and shelter and the best things that they needed in life. And how after issuing this decree, it came to pass and prosperity came to the land and to that area for the people of Israel. The priests, the Levites, and the rest of the exiles also benefited from that. And they celebrated the house of God with joy. So it just asks us to look at the communication, look at how the communication made people feel. And you'll find that in our work too. How we communicate will leave people with a certain feeling. We have to look at, did the communication give something for people to remember? And did it give people something to do? And those are the things that Darius did in this. He gave them the feeling that good things will come from this. He gave a compelling message that people would be provided for. And he knew his audience, he knew his own people, and they would want this. This was a compelling vision that drew them in. And they continued to be successful because they call it in leadership, in business, buy-in. They bought into that vision and they continued to use their skills, which prospered everybody. And they installed a priest for the service of God. And that's true in our societies too, for us as spiritual leaders, spiritual directors. When our own needs are not met, people can't expect us to be able to provide for others, to help others, because we have also our own bills to pay. We have our own houses, our own properties. For example, now it's the new year. There's a lot of work going on in the units. They're coming in to test whether the electrical outlets are working. They're coming in to do the cleaning under the kitchen sink. So those things have to be done. And in order for those things to be done, I have to pay my rent. So for me, the most important thing is getting a job and getting out there and working, and not working in minimum wage, working in a job that I'm qualified for, where I can earn a good living, and then I can help in the church. It's the same way as when Father Larry had the statue of Our Lady commissioned in Spain. He told us that we commissioned the statue, we're going to bring it in, and it's Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament, because Our Lady was present at the institution of the Eucharist. So he gave us a compelling message. We had a feeling that this is going to be a beautiful statue, and it's specially commissioned, and we all contributed to that. And now we have that statue in our church, and I'm part of the community that contributed to that. So people can use it for reflection, including me, and reflecting on the role of women in the institution of the Eucharist. And that's how we can apply that message in our churches and in our leadership. And for this book, the next chapter of Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn, for this it was looking at the focus of learning, which is improvement. For me, it's my communication. So with the Americans, a lot of them didn't like my tone of my voice. They didn't like how I was speaking to them. So I had to change it. Like an actress, I had to learn how to change my voice, change the inflection of my voice, and not speak to them like I'm speaking to a friend, not speak to them the way I would talk to people in my normal life. So for me, I treated them as the kings and queens. They were the ones where I was getting my sales. They were the ones who were giving me a job, giving me a business. Some of them, yes, they were like I spoke to them like I would speak to a friend. But I focused on how did I make them feel. And many of them, when I ended my conversations, they said, you made me feel like you care. Everyone else I spoke to, they didn't bother. And I feel like you care. And I feel like you helped. Even if you can't do everything to resolve my problem, you took steps to help me. And then I also tried to give them an idea of what I could do for them and what they could do. For example, if somebody's credit card was used and they didn't know and it wasn't someone in their household, I expressed to them that I know what it's like because it's happened to me in Canada, and I empathized with them. And then I told them, this is what I can do to help you and to protect your information to make sure it doesn't happen again. And then what they could do to contact their financial institutions and to protect themselves. So you can see how these steps of communication are applied in our lives. And I had to keep improving. It's not something that I can say, okay, I've reached it, now that's the end of it. It's small incremental steps every day that I had to work on. And every person is different, every interaction is different, every customer is different. We might not think about it that way, but it's a lot of work. If you're taking 200 to 300 calls a day, think about how many people my life touched on those calls or chats or emails. So it's a lot of work, especially when you're coming from a different culture. And if we are fearing making mistakes, then we're not going to be able to learn, because it's like, okay, if I do this, you're going to fire me. Or if I do this, you're going to beat me up. If I do this, you're going to take me to the police station. If I do this, you're going to take me to court. So we can't learn in those kinds of environments because they don't give us the opportunity to move out of our comfort zone. It's do it my way or else. And if you don't do it my way, then who do you think you are? So in our businesses, we try to get rid of that kind of an environment. We try to create environments where we're developing our thinking. And yes, we focus on feelings, but we don't let those feelings overwhelm us and stop us from progressing. We try to make progress where we are, and we know that there's no quick fixes. It's like when I learned to dive. First, I used the low diving board, and then over time, my teacher said, you have to go up now. You have to go up and use that high diving board. And I was like, you must be kidding. It's so high. And like, no, it's not that high, actually. You can do it. Go up there and do it. And I did it. But at the beginning, everything seems hard. Everything seems very, very difficult. But when we don't give up and we persevere, we can make progress. I can't focus on everything I wanted to do or I want to do. That's why it was so disappointing for me when after I bought my home, I bought my property, I held on to it for 10 years on my own without any help. You can imagine how heartbreaking it was for me when I had to lose that property because the banks wouldn't renew my mortgage. Because I thought, okay, now I have this property, I've graduated, now I can get my driver's license. But unfortunately, that didn't happen for me. So when people come here now and they ask me, Belinda, what do you think I should do? Should I get a property first or should I get my license? I tell them, get your license, because look at what happened to my life. I bought my property thinking, okay, I'm going to buy this property, I'm going to get a job, and then I can focus on getting the car, because I'm in an area where I don't need a car. I don't need it unless I'm going to be traveling long distances. I can use the bus, I can use the subway. I'm in a good location. And if I had a car, I could take jobs that are further out. So that's what I tell people. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I used to be, but I can focus on where I want to go and focus on getting that good paying job and focus on saving and then paying back the people that I owe the money to, because they worked hard after all. They worked hard, they took on 2-3 jobs, and they sacrificed so that I could also have some food and shelter and not be living in a tent. So that's my goal, and it's to get a good paying job and to keep improving. And believe you me, when you are focusing on your job search, you have to tailor your resume. You have to look at what they're looking for. You have to have different resumes for different jobs. So it takes a lot of time. And some of the companies want your resume to be 2 pages. If you've been working for 50 years, do you think you can have a 2-page resume? So I took off a lot of my experience. I removed all the experience from Zimbabwe, from my LinkedIn. I removed all the South African experience, and I just left the experience from Canada. Because you can't include everything, because they're not interested in the things that happened 10 years ago. So that's what I try to do with daily improvement. And if you're coming into Canada and you're a woman like me, you're on your own, you're single, I would encourage you to decide that you are worth improving. Everybody will tell you, you are not worth it. You're not worth it. Why should we invest in you? Why should we help you? Nobody helped us, so why should we help you? That's how they are here in Canada. They're not going to say, yeah, we'll help you, we'll invest in you, we've got great programs set up, we'll get you into a management training program, and we'll help you develop your potential. They'll tell you the exact opposite. They'll say, why? We're not going to help you. Even if you tell them, well, look, I like this company, I want to stay here, I want to work in HR, they say, oh, yeah, but you're an executive assistant, we're not going to help you. That's what happened to me. So you have to believe in yourself, you have to believe that you are worth investing in, you are worth spending the money and the time on yourself. The same way as we go once in a blue moon, maybe once in 2 years, you go to a spa, or you go see a movie once in 3 years. That's the investment in you to say, okay, I'm going to go sit in a theater and watch this nice movie. Because everything's available now on the internet. You can watch things at home. You don't have to go and experience it in a theater. But you can say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to go and experience this, just to experience watching a movie in the theater again after 5 years. It might be a nice treat for me. You can do things like that. That's what I do. And I pick one area that I want to improve on, and I focus on that. So you can see the prayers I've written. You can see how I'm doing these talks. And I go back. I listen to them. Even my music. I listen to the music that I record singing with Elvis. And I listen where I went off key. Because I'm doing it live. I'm not doing it and then saying, okay, now I'm going to go and put this live for people. Because I also want to see my progress. Right now with the classical music, it's still terrible because I'm still relearning the left hand. But I'll get back to where I was, where I can just sit down and just play that music. And how I used to play for people's weddings. Even my friends in Bulawayo, I played for their weddings. I played for Melvin De Silva's wedding. I played for Mario De Silva's wedding. I played at my cousin's wedding, Christopher Nagiro. So I am good. But if you haven't played for 20 years and you couldn't practice every week, then you're not going to be achieving that overnight. But I focus on it and I say, I am going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep focus on using my spiritual direction, working with the Jesuits, working with the sisters. I'm going to keep focus on getting that good paid job, buying my own property, traveling, working with world leaders. I'm going to keep that vision. And I'm going to keep improving, even in the face of losses. I'm going to keep doing it because I am worth it. And it doesn't matter if other people don't see it and other people don't believe it. There are people in this world who saw in me what I see in myself. There's Damien Howard in the UK. There's my diving teacher, Sharon Freeman. There are people in this world who know my talent, who know my qualities, who know that I'm excellent at what I do, who know I can take direction well, who know that I know how to lead a team. And those bankers, they know. They might not tell everybody, but they know. Deep down in their hearts, they know how good I am. And if they don't want to tell people, no, good luck to them. Because eventually what goes around comes around. It will be their children that will go through the same thing. But I know, because if I could pick up myself from Zimbabwe, go to South Africa, go work on a camp alone. When my aunt and uncle worked on those camps, they did it as a couple. I went on my own, and I worked on Camp Echo Lake. I took that Contiki visa and I went. I went to England on my own, and then I came here. So if I can come this far, I'm not going to give up now. I might have $0 in my bank account, but I'm going to make that money. I'm focused on making that money. And that's what I want to achieve. I want to have that money in my bank account, and I want to buy my property, and I want to have a good paying job. And I want to do it by myself and give people back the money that they gave me. And if people can send me events I can go to network, to get out there, to meet different people, that's good. And if indeed the one campaign invite me to events to come meet people, that's good. Because it's all building blocks to where I want to be. And if God brought me this far, I don't think God is going to desert me now. I think God has noticed my skills, my talents, and I think God will keep providing for me. So that's what I believe. And the losses are big. Believe you me, when you lose your property, you lose your life savings, you lose even the land of your birth. That hurt. To lose Zimbabwe, that hurt. You don't know how beautiful my country is. Zimbabwe is beautiful. You should go and see it. Go and see Victoria Falls, Kariba, Inyanga. Go and see it. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. Canada can't compare to Zimbabwe. Can't compare. But I am where I am. This is my home. This is the country that took me in. And so I have to keep improving.